Do you know that right now in Australia, it's Sunday? That was so screwy to Jerry and Esther when they were there. They called back to the office and they said, we're living your future and it's very nice. But of course that wasn't really true, was it? Because now is now. It doesn't matter what day you assign to it. It doesn't matter what realm you assign to it. It doesn't matter if it's the vibrational realm. It doesn't matter if it's the vibrational place where that which you call God dwells. It doesn't matter if it's the physical world. It doesn't matter if it's East Coast, West Coast, Central America. It doesn't matter if it's Australia. It's now. It's all happening now. There is a vibrational reality that is now. It is a now reality, and law of attraction is responding to it, and all cooperative components are being assembled. The question is, are you a cooperative component to what's in your vortex? And if you're angry, the answer is no. If you're aggravated, overwhelmed, frustrated, fearful, blameful, guilty, the answer is no. If you're joyful, if you're frisky, if you're optimistic, if you're playful, if you're interested, the answer is yes. If you're loving, if you feel appreciation, you're tuned in to this vortex of creation. And when you tune to it, and when you tune to it often, what happens is the distance, the vibrational distance between you and you becomes less and less because you practice the in the vortex vibration. And that's what we really want to talk about. We want to talk about how you can practice the in the vortex vibration, because it's up to you. You can practice whatever vibration you want to practice. You are practicing whatever vibration that you're giving your attention to. So we want to say, while there are lots of processes, we've offered them endlessly, and we won't stop. We like offering processes to you. You keep asking, and we make it as easy as we can for you to understand the big picture. But really, every day, something that you focus upon takes you momentarily into the vortex. You hear a song, you remember something, you see your grandkids. At first you're in there. Something happens that takes you in, And we're just suggesting that when you are sensitive to what in the vortex feels like, and you're aware that you're in there, stop and milk it for a moment. Because when you stop and milk it, Jerry and Esther had dinner last night next door. Oh, such a good meal. Everyone was so nice to them. The food was so good. Everything that they ate, Esther almost embarrassed herself. I know I'm not supposed to go with every bite. But if you ever tasted sweeter onions, did you taste the onion? Taste the onion, Jerry. The onion is so good. Wait a minute, I got a tomato in my mouth. The tomato is so good. Did you taste the tomato? Yeah, but get some onion in your mouth. Ooh, taste the onion. Ooh, 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 ooh. Did you see that red cabbage down under there? Put onion and tomato and red cabbage in your mouth all at once. Oh, best tomato and onion salad ever in the whole world. They could hardly eat. They were so interested in describing it and talking about it and encouraging each other and watching the pleasure on each other's face. This is the best. Have you ever tasted a more ripe tomato? Wherever did they get that ripe tomato? It's almost as good as the ones that came from Norway that we had at Luciana's when we were in Foxborough. Ooh, this is the best tomato that I've had in a long time. Ooh, 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 ooh. Ooh. We're not kidding you. We're not kidding you. They got so much mileage out of that tomato and onion salad. So much mileage out of that tomato and onion salad. They used it as their excuse to be in the vortex, to be in the vortex, to be in the vortex, to be in the vortex. And you know what happened? They began radiating this energy of love and appreciation till waiters and the people that were servicing their tables and cooks, they were coming out of the woodwork. Everyone wanted to sort of hover around them as they just sat there and devoured the deliciousness of this beautiful time-space reality that they were focused within. They were milking it, and did such a good job of it that neither one of them have been out of the vortex since. In other words, they maintained because they used something and then the tuna came. Oh. The tuna, the biggest piece of tuna, cooked all the way through like they like it. And when they touched it, it flaked off onto their plate. And it had a sort of wasabi sauce that was sort of on it and around it. And as they ate have you ever tasted better tuna? It cooked just to perfection. And did you taste this wasabi? I like it because it's just right amount of kick to it that when it goes up my nose, it doesn't send my eyeballs crazy. And they call the spinach supreme that for a reason. It was that. In other words, everything about this meal, from the ambience, from the service, from the food, everything about it, perfection, perfection, perfection. But the real perfection was Jerry and Esther in the vortex. In other words, that's what matters. Now, we have to admit, they live a really good life. They've been after it for a while. And so it's not uncommon for them to find themselves in a place of such perfection. But there are a lot of people that are in the same restaurant not milking it like they were. In fact, they were the only really weird ones. And what we want you to realize is, when you find yourself there and you care about it, what is it about this room? Look at this room. Look at this room. Do you know that this hotel built this building a while ago, but they have set this room aside just for you? Don't you find that remarkable? No one else is trying to get in. There's not sound coming from anywhere else. The ambience of the light is perfection. The cameras that give you the larger view. Isn't the sound good? Can't you just hear it? Isn't it wonderful? Aren't your chairs comfortable? Isn't the temperature of the room just where you want it to be? In other words, this is a wonderful moment in time. Here you are, source energy beings, sitting here in your physical bodies, talking with that which is non-physical energy, the non-physical counterpart of you. It just does not get better than this. Savor the moment, you know. Savor the moment. And what you're going to discover as a result of your attention to what we are saying and your tuning to the vibration, we're going to hold you, we do it every time, in vibrational alignment with the frequency of your source. And with few exceptions throughout this day, you will be in alignment with who you really are, which means you're right up to speed with every word we say. Aren't you surprised at how well attentive you feel as we are expressing to you? Do you know that you're receiving and absorbing and agreeing? You are in vibrational alignment with who you are, in a way that you are or no one usually is. This is alignment at its best. And it's just because we've sort of drawn you in a sort of vivid way into the vortex and held your attention here long enough that there is not resistance within you, so that you are in sync, which means you are right now in the state of allowing the things that you've been asking for. You have become, for the most part, a cooperative component to what you've been putting into your vortex. And your life has to immediately begin to improve. Your blood pressure is better right now. Your cell counts are better right now. Your vitality is improving right now. Your physical apparatuses are doing better right now. Your financial flow is more abundant right now. Things are queuing up. As soon as today, you will begin getting evidence that you shifted your vibration as a result of our holding you in the vortex. We just want you to get to the place where you are so aware of this vortex and so aware of how it feels that you crave the vitality, you crave the clarity, you crave the love and the good feeling of the vortex. We want you to get hooked on this vortex. We want you to become addicted to this vortex. And more important, we want you to feel the offness of being out of the vortex. When your employer or your teacher or your mother or some mentor says to you, just deal with it, just buck up, say, no, I'm not going to put up with it. I'm not going to put up with my not feeling good. I'm not going to tolerate it anymore. I'm not going to acquiesce to less than I have become. My physical body can't bear it. I'm not going to allow myself to be less than I've become. So what are you going to do about it? I'm going to the vortex. What does that mean? I'm gonna make lists of positive aspects of you until I can see only your good points, no matter how bad you are. That's what it means. I'm going to tune myself to the best of this world, to the best of this universe, to the best of this city. I'm going to tune myself to the best of this job, to the best of this car. I'm not going to demand change. I'm not going to ask one person, you need to be different, because if you were different, I would feel better, and you're annoying as you are, so you need to change. I'm not going to practice conditional love. I'm going to practice unconditional love. I'm going to say, I'm going to love you, which means I'm going to have to ignore you completely. Because there is a version of you, a new and improved version of you over here in my vortex. Because every time you did that, I put that there. Every time you did that, I put that there. Don't want, do want, don't want, do want, don't want. You should see how you look in my vortex. You are magnificent. And I've been realizing that I'm not mad at you for the way you're behaving. I'm mad at me because I'm not up to speed with the version of you that I put there. Me being up to speed with the version of you that I put there hasn't got anything to do with you. Don't you love knowing that? You're never mad at them. You're mad at yourself for not being up to speed with the version of them that you put there. And you've got a version of finances. You've got a version of your physical body. You've got a version of your family. You've got a version of your government. That's what patriotism is. You've got a version of your government over here that no government has ever lived up to. Don't ask them to. They're not that organized. There are too many moving parts. Don't ask them to figure it out. You line up with what's there and the universe will figure it out. The universe will give you the solutions. The politicians can just collect their paychecks. Don't ask them to solve the problems of your world. Nobody can do that. Would you say, politicians, please scrape dirt together and launch another Earth into orbit? Would you ask them to do something so impossible? Don't ask them to do the impossible. Let them help you create your version of a better world and then give your undivided attention to the better version of everything because you care about the way you feel. Align with it and watch your world become as you've intended it to be. And do you know, one who's in alignment with your version is more powerful than millions and millions and millions who are not. You don't need to protest in the streets. Just line up. Line up with the love that is you and watch what happens. We're eager to talk with you about anything that is important to you. We see it as our best work with you to lure you into the vortex. We'll show you how to get in no matter what the topic is. And we are eager to address whatever you want to talk about. Nothing is off limits. What do you want to talk about? Well, you've come with things. Begin right here.